Okay, this is the first episode of my podcast starting over. I've had a YouTube channel dedicated to this, but I decided to actually finally do a podcast. I really kind of wish I'd done it with COVID, but I might as well start now. Better start late than never. So my name is David Dow. A lot of people know me as either Master Dow or Sensei Dow. I had a martial arts school for 19 years, opened it in 2000, lost it last year. And I've been having to work at a convenience store / gas station for the past year. I thought I'd be there maybe 6 months. Of course, COVID did happen, but I'm not going to use that as a total excuse. I wasn't wealthy when I had the business, but I was comfortable. Got to do things I wanted to do. Love teaching. It was my path in life. So losing it to me was a big deal. And I know a lot of people, because of the lockdowns, have lost businesses or are out of work as well. So I hope that helps people. In addition, this podcast will also cover my experience with living in Japan, teaching martial arts, studying martial arts, anything related to that world. Also running a business, on the pitfalls that you will come up against that a lot of people don't expect. Also, just my thoughts in life in general, helping people through the process of starting over and finding their what they're going to do next. And I've struggled with this over this past year. So this first episode is kind of an intro what's up to come. So there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs in this situation. For me personally, I lost a marriage over my business. I didn't have kids because I put everything into the business. So losing it, also because martial arts is kind of like my spirituality. I am Christian, but I'm a warrior. I hate to say a warrior first because that could affect my afterlife. But I'm a warrior, a martial artist. I've studied originally Budo Taijutsu. A lot of people know as ninjutsu or Nimpo Taijutsu, the art of the ninja. When I got disillusioned to that, and we'll go into that in future podcasts, I started training Muay Thai and Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And when I was teaching martial arts, in my school we had what I called a freestyle Jiu-Jitsu because the instructor wasn't really ranked. And we did it mostly for the kids. Well, I'm getting too deep into the woods right now. The business changed over time, but it started off when we first opened in 2000. It was me and my ex-wife, and we had martial arts and yoga. And I'll get more into the journey in the next few podcasts. But the big thing here is I want let people know where I'm coming from. I just turned 52 literally yesterday. The year before, I celebrated with ex-students and black belts. This year was just myself in an apartment watching Prime. So, big change. And the job I'm working right now, the convenience / gas station, is overnights. So it's from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it kind of screws me up for a lot of other things during the day. I've been trying to do a lot of things over this past year. I've had some successes, some failures. And I also want people to know what the process is, at least for me. Hopefully people can learn from this. Depending on how many people listen to this, how deep into the darkness I'll go. If it's just friends and family listening to it, I don't want to freak them out. But if I can help one business owner out there get out of the dark and move towards where they need to go, especially where they want to go, I'll do that. I'll go into that. So right now I'm struggling with bills. I know a lot of people are because of I'm also doing food delivery. Trying to do some other things online. Of course, starting this podcast as well. I'm not trying to spread myself too thin. I'm still trying to do private martial arts. I'm doing that here and there. I've had a few customers. Had one of my old students for a while. That lasted about 6 months maybe. And then he failed his second degree black belt test. So he quit after that. But once again, this is my journey, and I hope it's useful to people. I'm going to keep this one relatively short, but I do want to kind of go over some of the specifics I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over the process you're going to probably go through depending on how attached you are to your business. And most of us entrepreneurs are very attached. Actually, I say mom and pops. Not all of us, myself included, were really entrepreneurs. And what I mean by that is a lot of us just want to open a little business and, raise a family and do that. We weren't interested in opening different businesses. And I know nowadays you kind of need to be an entrepreneur. You have to pivot. The martial arts schools that survived COVID, mine went under before it, which in some ways is a blessing for the fact it was my fault it went under, as opposed to government shutdowns, which would probably make me really angrier and bitter than I was. Maybe even radicalize me, I don't know. So I think it was probably good, because I know I wouldn't have lasted during the shutdown. Some people were able to pivot to Zoom and online classes. And that's the thing with people having to pivot, like restaurants having to pivot to takeout and teaching. Anything that's a teaching service has had to go to Zoom or close permanently. So it's been, you can't just do your little business anymore. And not just with COVID, I think the world we live in now, with things changing so much, that was part of the problem I had with marketing. From the time I opened in 2000, I was the only one on online, and I was get tons of students from it. Then when everybody became the thing, then depending on the Google algorithm and or the Facebook or whatever marketing you're using online, when they change that, it upsets everything. So it's made it a lot harder for people to market, because you're always having to use experts or shotgun blast into the dark. So, but this isn't, I may go a bit into the podcast on things I was successful with the business online, but mostly it's going to go through the process I went through, what I'm trying to do now, and I also, if there's interest, I'd like to do some live ones where we can have some feedback and discussion that might help people out. I know there's a ton of Facebook groups on looking for jobs, but those of us who lost a business and are having to now become an employee, and the things you go through, and all that is very different than people who are just lose their job, which is still crushing, especially if it was a dream job, but it's not quite the same. For me, I equate it to, and I know a lot of parents will get upset with me saying this, that I equate it to losing a child, because it's all I had in my life. I had some kind of friends, but I was mostly associated with my students, their parents, adult students, and other martial art business school owners. So everything in my life was associated with it. The only thing that wasn't associated with it was my girlfriend, which, just to be fully clear, I also lost my girlfriend through my own fault as well last year as well. So it was 2020 for a lot of people sucked. For me, 2019 was even worse. You could say 2020 could be really bad because I wasn't able to get out of the hole, but I think falling into the hole is kind of worse. What sucks is I know I haven't hit rock bottom, but I can see the bottom, and I don't want to go down any further. I'm hanging on a ledge. I can see the bottom, but I don't want to go fall any further. And I think a lot of us are in that situation, and especially those of us who are not great salespeople. Depending on what your business was, or once again, this for former business owners as well. If you lost a marriage or lost a job, whatever. A lot of us who aren't salespeople, if you're a good salesperson, you can practically sell anything, and it makes it a lot easier to start a business when you can sell stuff. I was good at teaching, and I was really good at running the school, creating curriculum, creating systems to run things. Sales and marketing, that was not my strong suit. I got good at it, but every time things changed, I always had trouble adapting to those changes on how you approach people, especially Pre-recession, post-recession sales were very different and a lot harder in the post. So especially if you're over 50, over 40 as well. Younger people, if you find value this, that's awesome, because I mostly taught kids in my martial arts school, so I loved helping younger people. But I think this podcast will probably resonate with people over 50, definitely over 40 as well. The job market, there is a bit of ageism. We're not supposed to have it's a protected class, but it's a really hard one to root out. So there's that as well. So there's about a little over 10 minutes here. It's kind of my introductory podcast. I'm rambling a bit as we go on. Hopefully I'll become more concise and focused on what we're working on. I hope you join me for this journey. So please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you much and have an awesome day.